Hey viewers, how's it going? This is Wes. Welcome to Wes's Corner. I did a brief introduction video before on the what the channel is going to focus on, but I figured it would be helpful to have some information on me myself, so you can get a better idea of what to expect from me on a personal level. So, as of this recording, I am 32 years old. I have 3 children, a daughter who is 9, a son who will be 5 next month in July, and another son who is about a year and a half. Um, I myself am on the spectrum. I was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder about 2 years ago in March of 2019, just shortly after my 30th birthday. What was then known as Asperger's syndrome. The community has kind of gotten away from that term a bit due to some of the kind of problematic concerns with the man who coined that term and discovered the disorder. So right now we just consider autism spectrum disorder. You'll notice sometimes that I pause in between what I'm saying, or sometimes I might not look directly at the camera. That's part of it. I do have social anxiety. I do stim sometimes. I tend to bounce my leg a lot. That's common with autism spectrum disorder. I also do, with that, have what is considered to be a near photographic memory with numbers, things like that. I can remember numbers, addresses, phone numbers, names, detailed information about different things like that, more so than someone who is neurotypical would be able to do. That doesn't make me any better or worse than those people. It just means that I think a little bit differently. I don't consider ASD, autism spectrum disorder, to be a disease or specifically a disorder on its own. It just means that my brain and the brains of those who also share it work a little bit differently, and that's okay. We are people too, just like everybody else. Just because we're not neurotypical, which is a term I don't particularly agree with, but it's the term that people tend to use to differentiate them and us, which I feel is kind of problematic on its own, but that's neither here nor there. We'll get into that later. In addition to the autism spectrum disorder, I do also suffer from bipolar disorder. I can be manic or I can be hypomanic, which means I have periods of ups and downs. It's not just like a switch just like that a lot of times. One period can last for days, weeks, or months, and then gradually switch to the other. And that period can last for days, weeks, or months as well. You do tend to notice when you're switching from manic to hypo or vice versa, being more depressive or more manic, more likely to act on impulse, that sort of thing. Again, that's something we'll also get into more detail later on in another video. I do suffer from anxiety and clinical depression as well. The anxiety can be somewhat severe at times. I am in a constant state of anxiety, it seems like. And there doesn't have to specifically be a trigger. It can just happen that everything could be going perfectly fine in my life, which things are going pretty good right now, but I could still be anxious. Do what ifs in my head, like, could have done this differently, could do that differently, what if I mess this up? It sucks, but it is what it is. The depression, that sucks too. You just feel down some days. You don't feel like getting out of bed. You can have a smile on your face. That doesn't mean that you're not depressed. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's not actually there. Some of the most depressed people that I've met have been some of the happiest on the outside. And I tend to have a cheerful, upbeat outlook towards life in general, and a pretty happy disposition when I'm out and about and in my own personal life. That's just how one-way depression can cloak itself. It doesn't mean just laying in bed all day, though sometimes it does. It can also include, hey, I don't feel like taking a shower today. Hey, I don't feel like eating. I don't want to do anything. It's got its issues. It's got its problems and its own way of sneaking up on you and making life difficult. Currently, I'm going to be upfront. I'm not medicated for it. That's because even with insurance right now, my medications for my bipolar, my anxiety, my depression run upwards of $800 a month. That's not feasible under my current level of income, even with working 2 jobs, even with assistance. I can't afford that. I mean, no person reasonably could afford to spend $800 a month on medication. I'm currently not in therapy. I have been in therapy in the past. There have been times when it has helped. There have been times when it hasn't. Again, insurance and healthcare make therapy sometimes inaccessible, and there is still a stigma that surrounds that sort of thing too. That's something that we're going to discuss in a later video, and a stigma that we need to get rid of to end, because there's nothing wrong with getting therapy. There's nothing wrong with talking about your mental health, your physical health to someone who is a trained professional. Yes, a lot of them may be in it for the money. There are some toxic therapists out there. I will admit I have dealt with some, and I would prefer not to again. Those that say that they can't see a problem just because it's not there based on what you tell them. If you are in therapy, make sure that your therapist is good and actually listens to your concerns so that they know that you are valid in stating what's going on, that sort of thing, so that they can better help you prescribe the right medications, get you on the right treatment plan, whatever the case may be. As far as me, I've been dealing with mental health issues since before I was a teenager. The depression started early on, probably before I was even 10. There were some signs of it, I would say, but nothing was officially diagnosed until relatively recently. But sometimes you don't need a formal diagnosis to know these things. Generally, we as people are pretty in tune with what's going on in our own bodies, whether or not we want to admit it. But I do strongly recommend that if you do have concerns that you might be suffering from some sort of mental health concern, depression, anxiety, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, anything like that, do not self-diagnose. Go to someone that is actually qualified to diagnose and treat that sort of thing. If you are a viewer or you are watching this through the Facebook group or the Facebook page or some other medium, reach out to me. We can try to find some resources in your area. If you're in the Western Maryland area, where I am, I can certainly point you in the direction of some good contacts. Beyond that, some other information about myself. I am kind of rambling here. I do apologize for that, and that will happen from time to time. I, like a lot of people, I enjoy listening to music. I like driving around, just relaxing, spending time with my significant other. She's wonderful and has been very, very helpful in helping me deal with a lot of the mental health stuff. I enjoy spending time with my kids first and foremost. They are the light of my life. If you have kids and you feel otherwise, maybe you should reconsider and make sure that your kids take an important spot in your life, regardless of who you are as a parent, natural or adoptive. I like to draw. I love to write. I like to read. To Kill a Mockingbird is my favorite book, for those who care. One of my favorite movies, too, a fantastic adaptation featuring Gregory Peck. If you have not watched it, please do so. Um, I enjoy reading up on what's going on in the mental health department. I like seeing how different media portrays it, whether it's pertaining to mental health of those that are LGBTQ plus, those who suffer from narcissistic personality disorder, bipolar depression, the ones I mentioned before, what have you. Like, for example, let's say BoJack Horseman is one show that touches on mental health quite a lot. Breaking Bad has some stuff that touches on that too. There's quite a number. I haven't watched it, but I've heard that Rick and Morty does deal with that sort of thing as well. Love, Simon is a good movie that goes into detail about mental health with being LGBTQ. It's a good movie and features conversations about one of my favorite bands, Panic at the Disco, which is a very good band, but that's neither here nor there. But I do love their music. A lot of different music. I love a lot of music, and it is, in one way, my escape from reality. That, the drawing, the writing, those are my escapes, because sometimes, no matter whether you're neurotypical, whether you're neurodivergent, whether you're straight, gay, lesbian, transgender, non-binary, gender fluid, or whatever you may be, we all need an escape. It's necessary. It's helpful to have that sort of thing to keep us sane, to keep us functioning, because it is hard to function in today's world with coming out of a pandemic, which is still going on, of course, even as better as it may be than it was a year ago. It's still going on with systemic racism rampant, that sort of thing, homophobia, transphobia. With all the hatred in the world, we need an escape. We need to focus on ourselves. We need to focus on each other and being better people. And I know I've kind of trailed off topic, but I tend to go into things that I am passionate about, and these are things that I am indeed very passionate about. So we're at quite a lengthy video at this point, so that being said, I will shortly be uploading a video within the next several hours to the next day, discussing why the different autism organizations are problematic and what we can do to try to combat that, and find some organizations that are good. But for now, this is Wes signing off from Wes's Corner. Hope to see some interaction. Again, if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and click the bell to be alerted to future updates. That's all. Bye-bye.